to another episode of the Path Forward podcast. Man, I'm so grateful that y'all are here, and I just want to go ahead and dive into it. This podcast is going to be titled Favor in the Fire. And this story is about Joseph. You know, to me, Joseph is a prime example of sometimes the very thing that God will show you in the dream. Like he'll show you vividly in the dream and you'll feel it, and your whole life is based upon the thing that God showed you. And that thing will make people hate on you, misunderstand you, and plot against you. But that doesn't cancel out the dream. Don't get so much in your feelings whenever you discover haters and when you discover that people don't believe in you or people just don't want you to make it. Don't get so much in your feelings that you cancel your dreams, because the haters and the people who don't understand you, they still don't cancel your dreams. It may not feel good. It may hurt. It may feel like betrayal at the time, but the dream is still alive. Your dream is still alive. Your dream is still alive. You know, Joseph made one mistake in this whole entire story. Like, Joseph is a man of favor. But the one mistake that I think that Joseph made was he shared his dream too soon and with the wrong audience. The reason why Joseph's brothers ended up wanting to kill him was because Joseph shared his dream that he had with his brothers. His brothers already didn't like him because he was favored by his dad. His dad made it known that Joseph was his favorite son because he had Joseph with his favorite wife. You know, Joseph and his brothers, they had different moms, and his favorite wife he had Joseph from. So his brothers hated him. That's how he got the coat of many colors. His dad loved Joseph and made him the coat of many colors, and when he wore it, it tore his brothers up. Hated on him. You know, sometimes we can overshare a vision with people who are not ready to handle it. Everybody are not visionaries. Like your vision is for your eyes. It's not meant for everybody. Sometimes you just got to show people the results. Sometimes you just got to show people the results because they're not going to understand the vision. And that's one thing that Joseph did wrong. He told his dreams of his brothers, and that angered his brothers because they already didn't like him. Angered his brothers to the point that they wanted to kill the man. Mm-mm-mm. All right, so point number one is the cost of favor. You know, Joseph, like I said, he already had the favor of his dad, and he had the coat of many colors. It's one thing for your parents to think within themselves, "Oh, this is my favorite son." It's another thing for them to say, "I'm gonna make you a jacket, a coat, so everybody know that you my favorite." Your brothers ain't getting one. Here's some brown coats. But here, Joseph, here you get one with the coat of many colors. You got to remember, back in those days, colors weren't as accessible as they are now. You used to have to go to certain people to make certain colors, purples and all that stuff. That was a rare thing back then. Not everybody had colors. Joseph had a coat of many colors. His daddy loved that boy. And his brothers turned jealousy into hatred when he shared the dream with him. And ultimately, the hatred became betrayal because they ended up selling Joseph into slavery. They really wanted to kill him. They really wanted to kill him. But the oldest brother said, wait. We still share blood with the boy. So let's not kill him. So they did the next worst thing you can do. Sold him into slavery. Sometimes favor paints a target on your back, but it's proof that God's hand is on your life. So don't feel bad because you got a target on your back. Remember, that target is also proof that God got his hand on your life. Let's look at the story of Job. Job had a target on his back from the devil himself, but he still had the favor of God, no matter all the terrible stuff that he went through. Same with Joseph. God still has his hands on your life, even if you got a target on your back. Which brings me to point number two: character in the dark places. You know, once Joseph got sold into slavery, man, like he ended up being a servant in a captain's house. And, you know, Joseph still found a way in the wherewithal to maintain high character, even though he got done dirty by the people that are supposed to love him. People that are supposed to love you can do you dirty, but can you still find it in your heart to maintain high character no matter what? because it's all a test of your faith. Joseph kept high character to the point where he was elevated over everything in his master's house that he was sold to the point that the master, his name was Potiphar, he said that he didn't even know how much money he had, how much possessions he had, because he trusted it all to Joseph. He trusted it all to Joseph. All he knew was the food that was on his plate when it was time to eat. Everything else he led into the hands of Joseph because he knew God was with Joseph. Do people see the God in you enough to trust you with anything? Because they know that you can multiply. They know that you can take care, you can steward. Mm-mm-mm. You know, and in the midst of all of that favor, temptation still was around because his master's wife was looking at him the whole time, lusting after him, asking him to come in and lay with me. Come in and lay with me. How many of y'all will fold? How many of y'all will fold? You done been through the trenches. You done been betrayed by your family. A lot of times when we get done dirty or we betray people, we just allow that to send us spiraling out of control, and we just feel like, what's the point of doing good when bad stuff keep happening to me? Joseph didn't think like that. Joseph still kept dignity and character and integrity. And when she tried to lay with him, he ran for his life. Some of y'all would have folded, but Joseph ran. And while he was running, he snatched his robe and framed him and said, look, here's his robe. He tried to come in and lay with me. He tried to take advantage of me. And still doing the right thing, still having high character. Again, Joseph seemed to be going downhill because the master believed his wife and had Joseph sent to prison. Mm. It seems like he can't win. It seems like he can't win. But he gonna win in the end. Point number 3, purpose in the prison. You know, Joseph didn't sulk or get too down on himself. You know, he still served and he still led even in prison, in a dark place. So him still have a high character, him still leading, him still showing the God inside of him, it elevated him once again to the point that the guard over the prison ended up putting Joseph over all the prisoners in the entire prison. So whatever the prisoners did, whatever they had to do, he left it up to Joseph. He didn't even bother with it because he knew once again that God was with Joseph. That's amazing. Even in his lowest place, favor still follows him. Even in your lowest place, even in your worst time, favor still follows you. Don't forfeit your favor. Don't give up your favor. God never leaves us. He never forsakes us. It's us. We the one that leave God. God is always by our side. He's omnipresent. He's in all places at all times. He never leaves us. It's us that leave God. Once you realize that the favor that God had on your life will always be on your life, it'll give you a different perspective. It'll let you realize that you're never alone. God, you're never alone. You're never alone. You're never too far down to reach. You're never in too deep that God can't snatch you up. As the old song says, if you have to reach way down, Jesus will pick you up. I felt that, you know, and even like, and that's another thing. Like you have to use your gifts no matter where you are. Like Joseph was in prison, and there was a prisoner that had a dream, and it bothered him so bad that Joseph still had a heart. Joseph asked him what was wrong, and the man said, "I had a dream, and I don't understand it." And these are the words that Joseph said. He said, "Interpretations belong to God." Joseph was not afraid of his God. He was not afraid to stand on business when it came to his God. He stood 10 toes down when it came to his God. He said, interpretations belong to God. Your gift will make room for you even in the lowest places. Even in the lowest places. Which brings me to point 4. From dungeon to destiny. You know, the man that had a dream that Joseph ended up interpreting while he was in prison ended up being the cupbearer for the Pharaoh. The cupbearer. It's a very important job. Whenever the Pharaoh wanted something to drink, that's the man that handed it to him. And Joseph interpreted his dream. And Joseph asked the man, please don't forget about me. Please don't forget about me whenever you get out of here. He said, I don't belong here. Don't forget about me. Come to find out, years later, the Pharaoh had a dream. The cupbearer got out of prison, got his job back. The Pharaoh had a dream that troubled him, and he needed somebody to interpret that dream. Well, the cupbearer's right there saying, wait a minute. I remember a man when I was in prison that interpreted my dream. That's who you need. Does the God in you leave a lasting impact on people that they remember you? Because your gifts can make room for you. There's doors that need to be opened in your life that you can't open, that a degree can't open, that money can't open. The only thing that can open them is the favor of God. Take the Lord with you everywhere that you go, because that is a key that can unlock any door. So he ended up interpreting the Pharaoh dream with wisdom and strategy. He ended up letting the Pharaoh know that, hey, your dream is a sign from God that there's going to be a famine in the land. There's going to be 7 good years and 7 bad years, and you need to prepare for this. In the good years, you better prepare for the bad years. The Pharaoh heard that interpretation. It impressed him so much that he promoted Joseph right there on the spot to governor and made him second in command of all Egypt. Preparation season pays off because Joseph's leadership ended up saving the nation from a famine. He ended up implementing the strategy that he was telling the Pharaoh that he needed to do. In the 7 good years, he ended up taxing 1/5 of all grain and goods, storing up in the good years. So when the bad years come, Egypt was the only people that survived the famine because Joseph had stored up so much food and so much goods that people from other countries had to come to Egypt and buy from Joseph. Wow, that's wisdom. And point 5 is the full circle. Grace for his brothers. Guess who had to come to Egypt and buy some grain and goods? His brothers, the same one that heard his dream, wanted to kill him, sold him into slavery. But instead of revenge, Joseph showed grace. He even returned them their money. He let them think they were buying from him, only to put the money back in their bags without them knowing. Like, that's the heart of God to do that. That's somebody that let things go. That's somebody that has a forgiving heart to do that. That's somebody that understands how God works that could do that. The weight of guilt crushed them more than any punishment could anyway. You know what I mean? True greatness is not power over your enemies. True greatness is mercy towards them. Our God is the greatest. The God that we serve, Yahweh, he's the greatest because he has mercy. He does not give you what you deserve. He does not punish you every time you lie and say, God, I'll never do it again. If you get me out of this, I'll never do it again. God, if you help me with this, I'll stop this. He don't punish you every time you do that. He gives you grace and mercy every time you wake up in the morning. Every time you decide not to pray before you lay down. Every time you decide not to read your word when you know it's pulling at your heart. Every time you decide not to get up and come to the altar and give your life to Christ when you know you need to. He gives you a second chance. He gives you grace and your mercy. That's what makes him the most powerful God. Because he holds back his wrath and gives us grace and he gives us mercy. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. You know, favor may attract hate, but your favor can't be stopped. Character keeps you elevated even in the dark times. Look at Joseph's story. Joseph's story seems like it's backwards. It seems like it's wrong because he was 17 years old and it was turmoil after turmoil after turmoil, sold into slavery, went to prison, lady lied on him, accused him of things. But in the end, he was elevated all because He didn't let his situation and his circumstance change his character and his DNA. He knew that the God he served was the true and living God, and he kept that at the forefront of everything he did. Every pit, every prison, every betrayal is training for your palace. Your palace is coming later on, but sometimes you got to go through your prison to get through your palace. Don't let your circumstances and your situations detour you off the path forward. Stay on the path, keep God first, and remember that better the end of a thing than the beginning. Don't envy other people. Don't look at on Instagram and don't look at other people and what they're doing and envy what they got going on because you're not where they are. You may be in your prison season right now, but your palace is coming. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. 12 o'clock midnight is the darkest time. There is no darker time of night than 12 o'clock midnight. But let me tell you the beautiful thing about 12:01. 12:01 is proof that morning is coming, that light is coming. It only takes a little bit of light to shine away darkness. When we get in our cars and we drive at night, it's pitch black dark. We can only see about 5 feet in front of us with the light that we have. That's all you need is a little bit of light that shine through the darkness to see where you're going. Don't give up. Don't give in. Don't let your dark times overtake you. Don't let your dark times rewrite the story. The story is already written. You are victorious. You will overcome, and your prison is leading to your palace. Because the path is not backwards. The path is forward.